Hey guys, welcome to this episode of SHODO Showdown, the weekly news show that breaks down all the Shodo, SHODO, and Judo news that came out this week. And hey, guess what? It all happened in that order this week. And then also, we head over to the Candy Toy Corner to take a look at some of the customs or oddities that I have in my collection that I just want to highlight. Anyways, let's get started with the news. Alright, so first up on April 2nd, 2018, we got a bit of some different Shodo news. We got a breakdown of the sort of creative process that went into creating the Shodo figures. So if you're not interested in this portion, just sort of skip ahead. But I was very interested in sort of getting to know these things a bit more intimately. They said along the process, Kuga was I think one of the earlier ones, but throughout the entire thing, Shodo bodies, like the main bodies, when they sculpt them in like digitally, they only go through about 3 different changes. But Kuga, oh no, they only showed us 3 different changes of the recent Kuga, but really it took like 7 or 8 tries for them to really get it right. And as you can see, they're really sort of refining the look of the character, and there was a big sort of bulk change from step 1 to step 2 here in this process. Overall, yeah, the product definitely shows. Then we go over to Takeshi Hongo, and the important thing to note here is that they wanted to make the eyes black, like the pupils black, but they didn't know how to do that consistently with paint. So what they did was they just made it a hole, so that it comes out using shadows instead of painted detail. We've seen this done if you've been keeping up with the Mega Constructs now, not Mega Blocks anymore, Mega Constructs Assassin's Creed figures. They do the same thing where they just use holes as eyeballs instead. Either way, these look pretty good. You can plop Takeshi Hongo's head onto the Kaminari Ichigo body and then have him hold the other head as a helmet, because that's just what you do. Anyways, that's about it for this story. Oh yeah, they also go into the Red Combat Man like a little bit, and I couldn't really tell with the translation what they were trying to get across. Anyways guys, let's move on to the second story of the week. Alright guys, for our second bit of news, Judo is back, and on April 6, 2018, we got more in-depth looks at mainly the Lupin Rangers. They gave us a sort of rundown of what you can do with these guys. Just like the Judo figures for Q Ranger, their shoulders can move out a little bit in order to facilitate like more movement. Also, the cape is on 2 pegs, and they also display it like you peg one in and kind of looks like his cape's waving. That's neat. They also come with a stand. A difference to note here is that instead of their head being like perched on a ball joint, they're using, I believe, a peg in order to facilitate this movement. They can't look up and down anymore, I guess, but I think that's fine because as you can see, they note that you can get a more natural head turning pose with it, something that wasn't able to be recreated with the original Q Ranger guys. Then we got more specific looks here. I do like how they sort of operate. I wonder if they're going to be the same scale as the Q Ranger ones. I know that there were some side-by-side images earlier, but I've long forgotten. Oh yeah, Yellow, instead of her collar being a separate piece, it is part of her helmet, so that it's like all in one thing. I believe you can remove it, I think. We'll see. Only time will tell. I honestly thought that they showed that off. Oh well, but I do like the idea. The only thing that bothers me about Yellow is that the hands are not yellow. But that's just a minor nitpick. And again, I think next week we're going to be taking a look at the Pat Rangers a little bit more in depth, and I am very excited for that because I am Team Pat Ranger. Anyways, guys, let's move on to our last bit of news. Alright guys, so we are going to jump right into our last bit of news on April 8th, 2018. X-Aid's back. It's infecting my build toy line, but fine, okay, fine. Earlier they cited that oh yeah, Build's gonna have more waves of toys than X-Aid, but yeah, friggin' X-Aid is diving right into Build. Whatever. Paradox, Black Paradox or Black Palad or another Palad is here. If that's what you wanted. Is this what you want? Did you make this happen? I don't want this. But he comes from the X-Aid side stories with Palad and Poppy. It is what it is, man. It's like another disheveled version of Paradox. And I know it's not Palad. It's like a different version of Palad that was extracted from Dan Masamune. Come on, guys. Please do... Look, okay, like, again, I'm not a big fan of X-Aid, but I just want more build stuff. The Bear TV could have gone here. Really? And that was an exclusive, and now we're getting X-Aid stuff. Can we just have the X-Aid stuff as exclusives elsewhere, and then just give me all of build? Just finish build for me. Just give me the rest of build, right? Oh, but you know, congratulations to whoever wanted this. Many props. Again, it's indicative of the strength of X-Aid, and I can't fault it. I can fault it. It is what it is, man. Just okay. We're moving on to Candy Toy Corner. Whatever.
Alright guys, welcome back to the Candy Toy Corner, where we are going to be continuing our look at the Masked Rider action figure series from Bandai in 2004. Now, today we're going to be looking at Kamen Rider Knight and Kamen Rider Ryuki, and I feel like I have the most to say about these guys, especially Ryuki, so I want to start with Knight, just to get him out of the way. I think a lot of the problems of Motion Revive and these Masked Rider action figures are expounded upon him, but for now, like, just sculpt-wise, the surface detail looks really good, but he is so incredibly scrawny, and this neck is so... it's so long compared to the head that it comes on, or comes under, I don't know, and it leaves this guy looking a bit gangly. I do like it still, just because, I mean, it's, I guess it's the only thing I got, but, these two figures are where I draw issue with the Gorilla Arms situation, because naturally this is how the sculpt is supposed to look, and the elbow is supposed to be right here facing this way, and it really ruins the look of these hardpoints being out. Again, you can still make this happen as a regular elbow joint, and for him it's passable. Outside of that, his sword, while it's not painted as well as the rest of him, it is very long. Let's compare it to Fize's sword, and like, you can see there is a sizable difference here. Let's see, even looking at Blade's sword, oh yeah, it's about the same size. Actually, this is much thicker and bigger, but this is painted a lot less. So I feel like, again, this is one of the weaker figures of this set. But all the painted detail it works. It just works. It straight up works. Like, even the tiny green crest there is visible. Gold paint. This looks great. Paint on the back. It's all good, man. It's all good. But where I draw issue here is Ryuki. No more evident are the problems of this line exemplified than in him. Well, let's see. Oh, come on, I'm trying to make a point here. Come on, yeah, there it is. Okay, so his hand is not fit properly. It's not like the rest of the hands of this line, because the rest of them, you can just peg them in and out. Fine and dandy, right? Same with this guy, but the problem with this hand is that there are two pegs on the side as opposed to a peg in the wrist. That means you have to peg it into these two holes here, line them up, and try to get it in. Like, it looks okay. It looks okay like this, but what it does is it stops you from being able to use the, like rotating the wrist around. And basically all you're getting is this pose and like this pose, unless you want to get a bit more creative. My biggest issue is that I would have been okay with it had these two pegs not existed and you just gave us that peg. And I know you'd probably have to flatten this out or something to make it work, but I really would have rather seen this being able to swivel all around, because you have the port for it. You left it. It's in the molding for this guy. You even have the molding for an extra hand if you wanted that. Like, you could have just given us an extra gauntlet. He comes with nothing else. No other accessories except for this janky hand and this regular hand. This hand's fine. And I thought, since, like, he didn't come with anything, I'd bring in my magnet action Kamen Rider Ryuki, and, well, let's just see. Oops. Plop that off and give it to Ryuki. Yeah? How's that look? It's pretty dinky. Kind of looks like a Kamen Rider using an actual Kamen Rider toy weapon. But, again, it doesn't look too out of place with Fize's, so buddies. Anyway, I've done this to spruce it up, and it looks passable. Oh man, I have a big problem because this did it better. This did it way better. Whatever. And if you watched my unboxing of this, you'll know that the knee cracked. That's why I say this is a pretty good microcosm of what's wrong with Masked Rider action figures and Motion Revive figures. As you know, I tore apart my Gatak and my Zabi Motion Revives because their knees always broke on me. And I was able to fix it, obviously. And what I did was I glued the peg in place to the knee. I glued the peg to the knee and then wrapped the rest of the leg around it. So now the peg that secured the moving joint in place is now the place it pivots on. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't quite know how else to make, to convey that to you. If you want to ask questions, I'm free on Twitter. I'm free in the comments down below. But either way, these two, look, then this thing, do you see this hip waggle? It makes it so difficult to pose these guys because this top bit is so loose, and these just always want to... Oh, that's funny. This is comedy. It makes it so that everything is wobbly. Everything looks wobbly. You can't pose anything fluidly like you can with, say, one of these guys, a Kamen Rider full action figure, saga figure, whatever. I said figure too much, but like the fluidity, it's definitely reached its apex recently in terms of joints, and I don't know. It's nice to see sort of that progression, starting from here, and where we've gotten to almost figure arts level to like actual figure arts. But again, I still appreciate these. I appreciate these as a piece of history. But as figures, Ryuki the most, he lets me down. I like the look of him more than I do Knight, but Knight is the better figure, so like they kind of balance each other out in my eyes. Either way, these two seem like a bit of a disappointment, but again, an interesting part of history. So anyways, that just about does it for this portion of the Candy Toy Corner. And yeah, let's head over to that outro.
Alright guys, so that's about it for me. Thanks for checking out this episode. If you like this episode, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. And also, if you haven't noticed, on our channel, we've decided to split everything. Anime is going to be on a brand new separate channel called AniMango, while this is going to remain largely a tokusatsu based channel. That's not to say that there won't be anime content on here anymore. The rest of the crew is going to be putting out the rest of, I want to say, Violet Evergarden, maybe Darling in the Franxx, I'm not sure, but the rest of those are going to be going on this channel just so they can finish it off. But all our new anime content, like Gundam Build Divers, and Boku no Hero Academia, those are all going on the new anime channel, AniMango. Anyways, if you are so inclined, please go check that out. Anyways, keep it keep it juicy.